Hello, welcome back to the Escape Pod. Thank you for escaping with us. That's Alex. I'm Andrew.
And as always, with great power comes great reviewability. Yes, as you all know, something very, very big in the world of entertainment, in the world of the podcast has come out very recently.
And the world of Fulfillo.
And we are here to review it. So can we get a drum roll, please? We are obviously reviewing the Dune 2 popcorn bucket.
No. Okay, we are going to review that, actually. What else are we going to review?
Avatar The Last Airbender on Netflix.
Can I see this?
Yeah.
I'm just going to test it out real quick.
Andrew,
have you done
to the camera, please?
Have you done this? Have you done it?
So, I haven't gotten popcorn out of it.
It's difficult.
That's what you were saying, right? Like you were losing kernels through the strands, right?
Reminds me of your mother. I can do this all day. No, I like it.
So, obviously, I wanted to ask you, do you think that this was on purpose?
There's no freaking way it wasn't.
This was just a viral marketing stunt. They were like, we're going to make this thing a fleshlight and it's going to be hugely viral.
Yeah. Because, unless they're completely out of touch with reality and they're the dumbest people on the planet and they didn't think, and they have a whole marketing team, dude, you're getting in there. How far can you go down? Dude, that's impressive. That's impressive. Oh my gosh.
We're trying to get my elbow in here.
But no, at the second half of this episode, we're actually going to review Avatar The Last Airbender from Netflix. And we're very excited to do that. Aren't we, Alex? Don't sniff it. Don't sniff it. Give it to me. Thank you. This is going to stay over here. Did this stay in your house last night?
10 out of 10.
I just touched it. Did you washed it? Okay. It's the jar incident all over again. Okay, you want to do a high-low buffalo?
Yeah, would you like to start?
I'll start.
Cool.
My high is my birthday was last week, and we did lots of fun things, and lots of sweet, fun people did lots of sweet, fun things for me. We had a lot of people staying at the house. We had multiple parties. We had the Avatar party. We had the trivia event at the restaurant. People surprised me at the restaurant. People surprised me when I got home. The Avatar party was a big success. We had a game night the other night. I just felt very loved, and I want to say thank you to everyone involved. And I went to the Avatar premiere. Yep. It was just a very fun week. My low, you were in the house the other day, or yesterday, when I was super mad?
I think. Yes, I was.
You did a great job of not talking to me.
Yeah.
Because you knew.
No, I knew. Yeah.
Yeah, you saw me.
And then when I thought it got resolved, I was like, are we good?
Are we good?
And you were like.
Yeah, that's how I'd be looking. A couple things. I did a brand deal in freaking December. It's halfway through February. I still haven't been paid for it, which happens sometimes. But they've tried to pay me twice, and the bank info isn't working. And I told them to fix it, and then they didn't fix it. And they're being confusing, and I'm being confusing, and the person that's trying to help me and my family is being confusing. And it really pissed me off. And I just thought it would be really easy to do a wire transfer. You give them this info, you give them this info. I log into my bank, I should have that info, and I just couldn't find what I needed. So that was really frustrating. And also, I'm 26 now. I know I'm not 49, as you like to say, but I'm losing my health insurance because I'm so old. And that's also a problem because I had
health insurance is expensive.
It's stupid. I'd rather just die, I think. It's $300 a month. That's the cheapest one I got. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, they are very expensive. The other day, my little hospital run, I got the bill for that.
Yeah?
How much do you think that was?
No idea.
$5,000.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, I could show you.
But you have health insurance.
Yes, but that's why health insurance is important.
Yeah, that is important.
I am so young
that's crazy.
I am not paying for my health insurance. Shut up, Beth. But, yeah.
I was going to guess 1,000.
No.
And I thought that was high.
$5,000.
Yeah, so I need health insurance, and we had an insurance agent that we've called multiple times and got set up what we're going to do. And then when she tried to set me up, she was like, you already have a Medi-Cal account, and I can't set this up unless you have that one deactivated. And then we tried to call the other place, and they didn't answer. So a lot of frustrating inanimate object type things with emails and
The moral of the story, the moral of your low is that
I'm old.
growing up is not fun, especially when your content is entirely surrounding children's media.
Do you think I've grown up?
No.
Okay, there we go. The Buffalo is this mug right here. Look at that, huh? Temporary mug as we wait for the new one. This was a gift at the trivia event. Some fans came out. Shout out, y'all.
Yeah.
And he gave us Christian, I believe.
Shout out Christian.
Gave
some
us
random geek. Love you.
When's the other one coming in?
It still hasn't shipped, brother. It's still on back order.
And there's nowhere else you can get a Venom mug.
It's not a Venom mug. It's a symbiote.
Symbiote mug.
Spider-Man
Sorry.
Mug.
Okay, your turn.
Okay. My high.
Go ahead.
Well, no, this is my low.
Oh, I thought this was gonna be your high. I thought this was doing something for you.
This is doing something for me, but not in the way that you want it to be. Andrew,
Yes,
my penis was in there last night.
that's why I was smelling. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So my high is actually kind of a niche one. Okay. My high is that I have officially found a new restaurant I really, really like.
Wow, this is big for you.
This is huge for me.
This is a big
There
deal. I
are
don't know if y'all know this.
4 restaurants I like in Los Angeles.
Hold on. Does cheesecake count?
Sure. If you count cheesecake, it's 5.
Okay. Well, you like the Cuban place.
Yes.
You like Black Bear.
No.
You do like. We go to Black Bear all the time.
Sure. It is expensive.
You like the other diner place?
Sure.
Okay, your list sucks. What are the
It's
other,
tough.
What
I
are
like
other
the
three?
burger place.
Oh, that one I knew. I got it.
Yeah, and I do like a good, there if we're not naming chains though, because I
Yeah.
do like Blaze. I like Shake Shack, but not really. But yeah, my list of food options is very, very low. But I recently went to an Argentinian place. Matt Soups took me there a couple months ago, and I liked it. But the other day I went again with some friends, and I really enjoyed it.
Good.
Really enjoyed it. So
What'd you get?
I officially have a new restaurant. I got a steak.
Okay.
And they had some arepas for the appetizers.
Was it
and those
better
were
than the
quite good.
Chili's? The chili steak?
Yeah, dude, that was terrible. It was a $16 steak. I should have known better.
Yeah.
That was terrible. I mean,
What about that waitress though?
yeah.
Yeah.
My low
Oh, we're not
ties
okay.
into my buffalo. My low is that I am not famous.
Okay.
Because
We're working on it.
all of our friends went to this Avatar The Last Airbender premiere. And I did not.
Not all of your friends. Soups didn't go.
Out of choice.
2 of your friends went. Straw Hat and Christ. And me.
And you.
Yeah, but like
And Haley.
Haley went because of me.
I would call Michaela a friend now.
Okay, a handful.
A handful of my friends went. And Alex is now a dear
Again,
friend
that's
of mine.
like one group. That's all one group.
And I just, I really was feeling the FOMO. I really felt left out. And y'all got to meet a lot of cool people and got to see the first episode early and got to celebrate it. And I was really feeling left out. So,
What's
yeah,
your-
I was sad.
I'm sorry.
That's my low.
What's your buffalo?
It's okay. My buffalo is that Andrew is the most famous person I've ever met in my life. I've been wanting to do this buffalo for a while.
You've met Drake.
That's correct. Believe me, Drake can maneuver MegaCon in a way that Andrew cannot.
No, he cannot.
This was crazy. We go to MegaCon. This was like a month ago. But we're at MegaCon. We're there Saturday, right? Andrew was getting mobbed. I felt like I was with George Clooney. It was crazy. Everybody's taking a picture with him. But you know what's the coolest part about his fame? He's got on the Spider-Man jacket, and he's George Clooney, Brad Pitt level famous. He takes it off. It's like Perry the Platypus. They don't even know who he is.
With the hat. Yeah.
It's amazing. It was amazing. We were...
You continue to say that, but the whole last day I didn't wear the hoodie.
And you still got recognized, what, like 30 times?
Yeah.
Exactly. But like that shows how famous you are. Like even then,
Yeah.
like you're Perry the Platypus and they still knew you. Right? Like it was just crazy. He's He's got the jacket on. We're in the food court, and I mean, just droves
this is really funny.
of people, droves of people. And we're trying to get something done to film. And he just turns to me and he goes, "It's coming off." And he takes off the hoodie. Right. I think Wally had the hoodie on. Maybe 100 people came up. And he takes off the hoodie, and 2 people came up.
Yeah.
It was pretty impressive.
Well, you got to go incognito sometimes.
Oh, no, it was. So, yeah, Andrew is.
Is that inside again?
I think so.
Can someone go kick the fridge?
Yeah.
I have crickets.
Sounds like an
Oh,
STD.
it's good. You knew it was coming.
That does sound like an STD. I like that.
I have crickets.
All right, so moving on.
We are, so we're going to save the Avatar review for the last. We're going to do a couple blind rankings. We haven't done these in a while. I think they're a lot of fun. Do you
Yep.
think they're a lot of fun?
I do.
We're going to start with a suggestion we got from a patron, Finn, Star Wars What If.
Yep.
Do
Shall you start or shall I?
I don't have any prepared.
All right, so I've got some prepared.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to do 5 or 10?
What do you want to do?
Let's do 10 for this.
Okay. Go.
What if Grogu died in Order 66?
10.
Okay.
We wouldn't get, like, Mandalorian, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So,
But maybe you see Mandalorian present day and he's a bounty hunter and he's a cold-blooded bounty hunter and he never learns the importance of family.
that wouldn't be a very good show.
Okay.
I want the character development.
What if Darth Jar Jar?
Ooh, that's a lot. That's pretty good. That's up there. Do you think he's a Darth? Do you think he's a Sith Lord?
What if?
I'm going 2.
Wow.
Darth Jar Jar would be a lot of fun, dude. Misa, a Sith Lord.
Misa.
Unlimited power.
Misa the Senate. What if Mace Windu had a blue lightsaber?
9.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, like freaking, I want to see some cool stuff.
What if it was never a trap? And it's just Admiral Akbar dealing with the ramifications of not being a cult favorite, a fan favorite.
That's also lame. I love It's a Trap.
Yeah. No, they take it away.
I'm going 8.
Okay.
The bottom 3 are you're just basically taking away good stuff that's in Star Wars. You're
with
taking
you.
away Grogu. You're taking away Mace Windu's lightsaber. You're taking away.
What if Chewbacca had a hat?
Ooh, that's like 1, right? Okay, I need some specifications here. Like, what kind of hat we talking?
It's a snapback.
Like what you're wearing right now?
No, this is a strap back.
Okay, you're gonna have to educate me on different types of hats, apparently.
Don't do it. It's just...
But like this, like a ball cap.
I actually was thinking more of a flat brim, and he's kind of wearing it to the side.
But it's like basically this.
But this is a curved brim, and this is more of like a dad
It's
hat.
not a sombrero.
It's
What
not
I'm saying.
a sombrero. It is a ball cap.
If it was a sombrero, it would be higher.
It's not a sombrero.
What is on the hat? Is it just like a plain color, or is it like Han Solo rules?
It's got the Millennium Falcon on it.
That's hard. That's hard, dude. That's freaking sick.
We have an audience today.
I'm going 8. No, I'm going 3. Sorry.
Wow. What if Chewbacca had a hat?
Yeah, because then he's not naked, but like he's still naked. You know what I mean?
I'm with you.
Yeah.
All right.
You ever had sex
ready?
just in a hat?
No, but I should for the
Yeah,
culture.
you.
That's good.
For the bit, brother.
Yeah, I like that.
And you're gonna be like, I'm a hat guy.
This is probably my favorite on here.
Okay.
What if the Ewoks were Wookiees?
You don't like the Ewoks,
So what if instead of Endor it was Kashyyyk?
right? That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
I'll go like in the middle. I'm going 5
Wow, you're lame.
because that's cool, but I also like the Ewoks. So like you'd be taking away, like if there's, you know what I mean?
What if Luke Skywalker's plan in Return of the Jedi didn't suck?
What's this? Why did it suck?
Well, first of all, Lando's undercover. Okay. Now we're going to send the droids. The droids get captured.
Oh, you mean at the start?
Okay, and then we're going to send Leia, disguised as a bounty hunter, to give them Chewbacca. Okay. Now Leia is going to free Han Solo, and then gets them captured, and probably Leia raped. Now Luke is going to come without his lightsaber. Then he kills the Rancor, and then they get taken to the Sarlacc, and then he massacres everybody.
It's still fun.
It's a bad plan. What if the plan was good? What if they just throw a grenade into Jabba's palace while they're all sleeping?
They have security guards.
That Luke force chokes and gets through very quickly.
Okay, first off, he does not force choke them. Jedi don't force choke people. He throws them against the wall.
No, he like fully force chokes them.
He doesn't
That
choke
is
them.
Canon.
He doesn't choke them, right?
He does.
No, he doesn't choke them.
Yes. He walks by, does this, and that. Yes.
And
Whoa,
it's in the Lego Star Wars games. Like Jedi Luke is the only Jedi that can force choke because he does it to the Gamorreans.
Wow. Okay. I'm going friggin' 6.
Damn, Luke, good plan.
Your mother doing it.
Ooh.
Brutal. Yeah, here, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
What if Ahsoka joined Maul in the Siege of Mandalore?
Okay, so how are we playing this? Is this like a game where like I'd like to see this in a what if series, or is this like if they had actually done this in the original?
No,
series?
this is see this as a what if. This
Okay,
is
like
a what if episode.
Okay. Oh, that might have changed my things. No it wouldn't. 4.
Okay.
I like that one.
What if Obi-Wan turned to the dark side with Anakin on Mustafar? Okay, that's your one.
Yeah, that's my one. Just
Okay.
that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Give me one more.
Yeah. I don't want to do this to you. So I'm going to try and think of a new one.
No, just give it to me. It's fine. I don't care. I'm a big boy.
What if Anakin doesn't turn?
Yeah, that's fine.
So what is your list, and then what would you change?
So obviously that's one. Anakin would be one. But
Yeah.
okay, so we got Obi-Wan joining. We got Darth Jar Jar. We got Wookiee in a hat. We got Ahsoka and joining Darth Maul. We've got the Ewoks were Wookiees. We've got Luke's plan not sucking. We've got Anakin not turning. We've got if it was not a trap. We've got Mace Windu's blue lightsaber, and then we got Grogu dying in Order 66. I'm pretty happy with that. Obviously, I would just move Anakin up.
You would move Anakin to 1, and that's the only thing you would change?
Probably.
Cool. All right, you ready? Do you have some for me?
Yeah, I'll come up with some.
Cool.
Are you gonna?
Yeah, I'm going to write them.
Okay. We're going Obi-Wan marries that friggin' woman.
Satine.
Satine. I almost called her Sabine. I knew that was
He
wrong.
doesn't join the Jedi. He leaves the Jedi Order then?
Yes.
So it's a marriage story. It's like a marriage episode?
Yeah,
8.
like he's okay. What if Luke and Leia didn't find out they were siblings and continued making out?
That's really funny, but that has to be 10.
Darn. Okay. Okay, what if Luke and Leia were swapped and
Yeah.
Leia's doing all the stuff
Yes,
that Luke's
that
doing?
is 4.
Really?
Yeah, Luke and Leia swapping is really interesting.
Okay. What if they didn't bring? What if Emperor Palpatine somehow didn't return, and Rise of Skywalker was a different movie?
1. So Palpatine doesn't return. We get Kylo Ren as the main villain and
Yes,
everything. That
yes.
would be the best movie ever.
Yes. Okay. What if Luke wasn't a carbon copy of Yoda in The Last Jedi, and they actually did something interesting with his character?
9.
Brutal. That's a terrible choice. Okay. What if R2D2 exploded?
Can I give you context here?
Sure.
You're killing him in the New Hope trench run so that they do not have him for the rest of the original trilogy.
Correct.
That is 3.
Wow.
Like,
I don't like that.
I know, but like, so R2D2 dies in New Hope when they hit him. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Wow.
Yeah. He dies there. That's when he explodes.
I think
And then you go the rest of the original trilogy and maybe even the sequel trilogy without R2D2. That's really cool.
No, I think it would be better if they killed him in Return of the Jedi, because then you get attached to him more and you see his relationship with Luke grow and all this stuff. And then in Return of the Jedi, if then he somehow sacrificed himself and it was like, and then you're a lot more sad. I would like that better.
But then you're just gonna watch the trilogy. Like, we're attached to R2D2 because we are. You know what I'm saying? We've already seen those movies. If you're watching Star Wars What If, it's likely that you've seen every Star Wars movie. So, like, what I'm saying is we're already attached to R2.
I keep
need
thinking,
that.
like, if they had changed the movie.
Yeah, we don't need that. I like that, though. That's 3. I love that.
How many we got?
Also, the sentence of what if R2D2 exploded is really funny.
Really funny? Okay. What if, i.e., I'm giving you an example. Shaggy, the Shaggy Jedi in the Clone Wars.
Shaggy, yeah.
Yeah, right. They make a Jedi like that, but based on Hat Guy.
Yeah, that's got to be 2.
Hat Guy Jedi.
You're putting
G.
You're putting me in Star Wars. Like,
Yeah.
I'm 2.
Okay. What if they made you a Gungan, though? That'd be a little more accurate. You know what I mean? What if they made a Gungan Jedi, but it was based on you, and he...
So is this another one?
No. It's fine. Okay. Okay. What if Darth Vader doesn't die in Return of the Jedi at the end?
Yeah. So it's gonna be a trial. We're gonna see a trial. Him put on trial. That's really
or he doesn't die, but he just like leaves. And now he's out in the universe somewhere, and maybe at some point Luke and him join back up. And
So Vader, I'm putting that at 5 because that's the highest spot I have left. That would be really high. Whether it's a courtroom drama or it's like, there's so many options with that. I think all of them are interesting.
Okay. What if they include a really spicy sex scene immediately after Anakin's "I killed them all" speech?
Yeah, that's 7. That is terrible.
But she looks all hot for him in that scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah, brother, but that's like a lot.
How many we got left?
1.
What if... No. I was gonna go, what if Han shot first? And George Lucas never changed anything.
What if George Lucas never changed anything and it's just New Hope, the original cut?
Yeah.
That is number 1. Are you actually doing that?
Yeah, sure.
All right, New Hope unchanged is at 6 because that's what I have left. So my list as is Rise of Skywalker is actually good. Hat Guy Jedi, R2D2 exploded, Luke and Leia swap. Vader doesn't die. New Hope unchanged. I killed them all. Sex scene.
Oh, come on. That should be
Satine
1.
and Obi-Wan. Luke being not the way in Last Jedi. Like Luke being what people wanted him to be in Last Jedi. And then Luke and Leia actually having a relationship. There's a lot I would change here. Honestly, Hat Guy Jedi, I think selfishly I put too high because there were a lot of good ones you gave me after that. I like R2D2 exploded a lot. I love Luke and Leia swap. I love the Vader if he lives. And obviously New Hope unchanged would be number 1. I killed them all sex scene would be underneath Satine and Obi-Wan. But there you go. Good one. You ready?
Yeah.
Shall I go or you?
Yeah, sure.
All right. You know what you're going to be blind ranking?
Yeah.
Numbers on how they make you feel.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
64.
64 is good. 1964 is when the Mustang came out, and I know that because my brother really liked Mustang. He was obsessed when he was growing up. So I'm going 4.
4 for 64.
Yep.
All right. 8.
8's not great. Why was... Can I tell a bad joke?
Yeah.
We can cut it if we need to. Why was 6... You know this joke? Why was 6 afraid of 7?
7, 8, 9.
Are you good?
It's a good joke. It is a joke, but it's a good one. Okay, anyways, 8. I'll put it 8.
33.
That's not Magic Johnson's number. That's 32, right? Okay. Darn. Yeah, I don't like 33. I'm going 9.
Wow.
Yeah, not a fan.
99.
99's pretty good. I'll go 3. 1999. You know, you see it a lot.
1 billion.
1 billion's up there. I'm going 2. Lions.
Are losing to one of every Pokemon.
Sure.
Speaking of one every Pokemon, 1,025. So 1025.
Do I have 5 left? No, do I have?
You do have 5 left.
I'll go 6.
The ones you have left are first place, 5th place, 7th place, 10th place.
Okay.
Okay? Mm-hmm. 10.
I like 10.
Yep, 10's a great number.
It's got to be 1.
Yep,
Yeah.
good pick.
Yeah.
89.
I have 5, 7, and 10.
5, 7, and 10.
10.
314. If you put a decimal in there, it's pi.
I do like that. You sold me. I'll go 5.
And finally, for your 7th place spot, it will be 73.
Okay. I feel like I'm pretty good.
So your list is 10, 1 billion, 99, 64, 314, 1,025, 73, 8, 33, and 89.
I'd put 8 up a little bit higher, maybe 2 places, but other than that, I think that was really good.
Nice work.
Nice work. Ready?
Yep.
You're going to blind rank dates.
I like that.
Like ideas for dates.
I thought we were going like
No.
February
No.
16th.
No. We could do that too. Maybe on the Patreon.
Yeah.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Aquarium.
Yeah. 7.
Okay.
It was a little disappointing. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You did that. You did that recently.
Yeah, for Valentine's Day. But she really wanted to do it, and it's off the list now, and, we had a good time, but
Okay.
kind of boring.
Okay. Watching a movie on that futon in your bedroom.
The futon is now in my bedroom?
Yes. You have space in a bedroom. You're on that futon and you're watching a movie.
Where's the movie? Is it on a computer screen? Or is it on a TV?
Hey, you got a little TV in there.
Okay, so it's hanging up. I don't need to what movie?
Just a movie. Let's say a mid-tier movie. Not a great movie, not a terrible movie.
6.
Okay. Picnic on the beach.
10.
Brutal. Why?
I don't like sand.
Okay, Anakin. Shoplifting.
1. If it's in Canada, it becomes
Oh yeah, Connor.
even higher.
Okay. Disneyland.
Yeah. Is it both parks or just DCA?
Both.
3.
Okay.
Especially if you buy the upgraded.
Yeah. You are upgrading her pass. Okay. Riding horses.
9.
Oh. Like cannibalism for him.
You watch The Avengers followed by The Greatest Showman.
8.
No. Absolutely not.
That's a long date.
It's a good date. What do you mean? I did a date where I watched The Greatest Showman followed by Mamma Mia.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a long day.
Yeah. It was Sydney. Okay. You spend an hour with the Dune popcorn bucket, and you can take that however you want it to mean.
2.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many we got left?
2 more. 4 and 5.
Okay. You ask her out, and to start the date, she just comes and sits and watches us film a podcast.
5?
Yeah, it's-
Yeah, I could put that last. That seems very awkward.
Mm-hmm. Dinner with your parents.
Ooh. Parents.
Parents, plural. Yeah, you're going to have to figure that out.
Shit.
Ooh.
That's going to be like a really emotion. That's a first date?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, dude.
Ooh.
All right, let's see what you got.
Yeah, so I've got shoplifting at 1. I don't hate that, but I do think I would put the Dune popcorn bucket at 1. So the shoplifting at 1, Dune popcorn bucket at 2, Disneyland at 3, the parents' night at 4, the podcast she sits in on the podcast for the first hour is at 5. The movie night on the futon is at 6. Aquarium is at 7. Avengers followed by The Greatest Showman is at 8. Horseback riding is at 9. And a beach is at 10. Beach picnic. I don't really like any of these other than Disneyland is fun but exhausting. Shoplifting sounds like it could be fun but also against the law. And then Dune is kind of lonely. And then every other one here sucks.
It doesn't have to be lonely. What do you mean?
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Double team.
Double team in the popcorn bucket, brother.
There's enough room.
You're going to have to get a couple extra. You're going to break them. Okay.
Wow.
Do one more each?
Yeah.
What you got?
I'm going to do dates.
Okay. Kick it. Hit me.
You ready?
Yeah.
Can I go kick that one?
The 4th of July.
I'm afraid you're going to give me some weird stuff. So I'll go 5.
Yeah.
Middle of the road. You might give me some great stuff, though.
Christmas Eve.
Is this a first date?
This is the date.
Oh, you're doing that. Okay. So, dude, Christmas Eve is fire. It's not a Christmas Day though. Christmas Day might be number 1. I don't know if you're
Really?
I don't know if you're gonna.
I think the anticipation is more exciting than the release.
So good, dude. Yeah.
I'll go 2.
Holocaust Memorial Day.
It's a good one.
We'll never forget.
That's 9/11. 9/11's gonna be on here. I feel like if I put it too high, I'm making fun of it. If I put it too low, I don't care about it. You know what I mean? So I'm
Put
going.
you in a predicament.
Yeah, I'm going 7.
9/12.
Wow.
We'll never forget.
Dude, I don't know how to do this. 8.
July 28th.
No, it's not. I don't know people's birthdays. I thought that was someone in my family's birthday, but it's not.
Probably not.
9.
Mm-hmm. Just such a weird day, right?
Totally.
November 2nd.
6. I like November.
9/11.
Yeah. All right. Again, I don't know what to do here because I either put it at like 4, which is kind of high, or I put it at 10, and I think I'm being disrespectful.
Mm-hmm. Never forget.
Yeah, I'll go 4.
January 6th.
One. I'll go 10.
10?
Yeah.
Okay. February 17th.
Okay, what's the last one?
June 16th.
All right, well, that's number 1.
Good day. 3 days before Juneteenth.
Yeah. So June 16th, Christmas Eve, February 17th, 9/11, 4th of July, November 2nd, Holocaust, 9/12, July 28th, and January 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. This one's kind of a Patreon-y one.
Okay.
Do you want to save it?
No,
Or-
let's do it.
How much? What are we at? Okay. You're going to rank these characters based on how much or how little you would be okay or would want them to suck your toes.
Okay.
Okay, so you really need to take into account like their mouthful structure.
Yep. No, I'm with you.
Their tongal structure.
I'm 8 steps ahead of you. I'm ready.
Okay. Ready?
I already know my one.
We're gonna go this guy right here. The Dune Worm.
He's big though, right?
He's like a skyscraper.
10.
Darn. Okay. Jar Jar Binks.
Okay. I've got a very important question.
Yep.
He's sucking my toes.
Yep.
Does it imply that this is in a sexual situation, or is this just a one-off thing, a la you and Haley on the Patreon?
It could be either. It could be whatever you want it to be.
If it could be whatever I want it to be, then Jar Jar's pretty high. I'm gonna put Jar Jar at 4.
Okay.
He's got that tongue.
Right? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We're gonna go Professor X.
Wow.
So he's not very like maneuverable, so you'll have to like actually like step up and get your toe to him because he's in the chair.
I don't like this. This feels degrading. Is it Sir Patrick Stewart?
Yeah.
That brings it up, because then I have a Sir sucking my toe. Rather than James McAvoy.
Would you like me to suck your toe? Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's going to be 5.
Okay. Oh, we've already done a Star Wars. What have we not done? Okay, let's go. What's a good one from there? Let's go. The mermaids from Harry Potter.
Gross. 9.
Okay. Let's go. Have we done? What have we, okay, we haven't done that. Let's do Martian Manhunter.
Okay.
Let your imagination fly.
Yeah, I'm doing 7. I don't hate it.
Really? I thought that would be higher. He can like shapeshift into whatever.
I'm with you.
His mouth could do. He could take the whole
I was
foot.
thinking that. I was thinking that.
All right,
But at the end of the
Elastigirl.
day-
Ooh.
Yeah. Got to be 1. There's no universe where she's not.
Yeah, we'll go Mr. Poopy Butthole.
2.
How many we got?
I need 3, 6, and 8.
Okay. Birdo.
8.
Darn, I thought that would be higher. I thought that would be higher.
2 more.
I want another creature. Let me think.
I've got a good creature.
Yeah, let me see.
The Kraken from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Sure.
6.
Then we're gonna go. We're gonna go Yzma.
All right, 3.
Okay, what you got?
So I got Elastigirl at 1. I got Mr. Poopy Butthole at 2. I've got Yzma at 3. I've got Jar Jar at 4. I've got Sir Patrick at 5. I've got the Kraken at 6. I've got Martian Manhunter at 7. I've got Birdo at 8. I've got Mermaids at 9. And I've got Worm, the sand worm,
Dude,
at 10.
Martian is way too low.
Yeah, maybe.
Way too low. How are you? Are you happy with your top 3 though? Your third was Yzma.
Yeah.
Why?
Because, like, fuck you, bitch.
Suck my toe.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair.
Mr. Poopy Butthole is strictly out of love.
And he would be so into it. He's weird. And he's lonely. His wife divorced him and left him. He's been struggling. He's probably sucked some toes. He probably has some experience.
Absolutely.
Just like me. Avatar review?
Yeah.
Netflix Avatar The Last Airbender review time.
The live action specifically.
Yes. Netflix's. I guess Netflix has both of them
They
on
own the
their
other one.
They don't own it.
They have the other one.
They have it on their platform.
So
But this is
Netflix's
Netflix's.
2024 live action.
I don't think we have to do all of those qualifiers. I think Netflix's Avatar: The Last Airbender. I think most people know what we mean. No?
We'll put up the poster
Okay.
with the humans. With
Do we
the
need
faces.
to put do we need to put like the IMDb up as well, just to like be super safe?
I don't think you can ever be too safe.
Okay.
Because original from 2005, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
So we're going to review this one, give you a score right
So-
off the bat.
No spoilers at the start, and
Yes.
if we get into spoilers, we'll say.
Exactly correct.
Okay. Netflix's Avatar: The Last Airbender live action show ranked out of 10.
Yep.
3,
2,
2, 1,
1,
7 out of 10. Not bad. Not bad.
I'm usually lower on things than you.
You usually, unless they're bad, and then you're higher. I.e., Last Jedi.
Is that what you're saying about Across the Spider-Verse, a movie from last year that I was higher on?
You're half a point higher on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, like,
how about Talk to Me? I was higher on Talk to Me than you.
Talk to Me's great.
You going to call Talk to Me bad?
No,
Okay.
Talk to Me's great. If we're both positive about things, I guess you're a little bit more positive about them. If we're both,
But we're both positive, I think, largely about this show.
yeah, it's both.
So, off the bat, I want to say this show, for me, was very, for lack of a better way of saying it, bipolar. I didn't like the first episode. And then I loved the second episode. Maybe my favorite in the whole show. And then I liked the third episode. And then the fourth episode was probably my least favorite episode. And then I thought the fifth episode was fine. And then the sixth episode I thought was largely great. And then the seventh episode I thought was fine. And then the eighth episode I had some problems, but I also liked it. Right? Yeah. So it was all over the place. I loved it. I hated it. I loved it. I hated it. You know, it was giving me whiplash.
No, I agree. I'm very similar. I'm very similar.
Yeah.
To that. I liked the first episode, and the second two were great.
Yeah.
And then I really didn't like the fourth one. Blah,
Yes.
blah, blah. So, yeah, I give Netflix's Avatar: The Last Airbender a 7 out of 10.
Yes.
I think this show will be a nightmare for nitpickers, and we are already seeing that. The insane amount of hate that it's getting online, I think, is a little bit crazy. People are complaining about the dumbest stuff ever. They're just injecting the hate heroin and really enjoying it.
I like that.
You do that a lot. They're getting off on it, dude. Which, you know, it is fun to hate things, but like, calm down. There are plenty of things in this show that could be better that we can discuss.
Of course.
Without like resorting to like hyper criticizing small things that don't really matter, in my opinion.
I have seen a large amount of people get upset about like two specific things that we will get into spoilers that like legitimately do not matter.
Yeah.
There are absolutely things in this show that are different or changes or maybe done poorly or done better or whatever that you can complain about. But there are a couple things that it's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, exactly,
you know,
exactly.
It does feel like that. And that is a lot of the hate online I see. So I think your statement about nitpickers is very fair.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a nightmare for people that went in wanting it to be absolutely perfect. Like I've said on the show many times, and I think I've proven this, Avatar: The Last Airbender, the animated show, is my favorite show of all time, and it has been for over a decade. And I enjoyed the live action.
Yeah.
I think some changes they made are great, some are bad. The acting and writing are clunky sometimes, but other times I laughed and other times I cried, and I think that's good. It's not perfect, but I'm honestly looking forward to season 2.
I'm very much looking forward to season 2.
Yeah.
Something that we could get into without going into spoilers is a large group on the internet, at least in my capacity that I've seen, seems to be upset that it is not shot for shot a remake of the original.
Yeah.
And I'm very much glad it isn't.
Yeah.
I think you said this leaving the premiere. I don't know if I agree with you completely, but that the best parts of at least episode 1 for you are the stuff that's like completely new, completely different. That's not exactly how I feel, but I do think that if it was a shot-for-shot remake of the original and there was nothing changed, all that tells me is that Netflix and the people involved do not respect animation as its own art form. I would be literally not interested in the slightest for a shot-for-shot remake of Spider-Verse, either of the Spider-Verse movies. Because all you are telling me by doing that is that you think animation is a lesser art form, which is obviously something I hilariously disagree with. I'm a little bit borrowing that take from Doug, Reservoir Doug's. But yeah, that is just something like, animation is not a lesser art form. If you're going to do a new live action Avatar, there should be changes, because not only was the show from 20 years ago, it just celebrated its 19th anniversary, but if you do it shot for shot, you are implying that, oh, well, animation is just lesser, so that's why we needed to remake it. Yep. They're also remaking it to give new perspectives, to add new stuff, to change things, maybe show it to a different audience, which is really something they were going for with the mature tone, and they make a lot of very mature choices, oftentimes to my chagrin. Some of the mature stuff was some things that turned me away from it a little bit. But like the creator said, like the people that were involved with this show said, they want this to be Game of Thrones. Whether or not that's a good decision or something that a lot of people want or not, like that is, you do get that watching it. At least I got a lot of that watching it.
I don't think I did. Like, obviously, yeah, there's a little bit more death and, like, whatever, but, like, it's not Game of Thrones. Like, it's still something that you can watch with, like, a young person. Like, people aren't having sex on screen. You're not having, like, brutal deaths all the time. Like, Game of Thrones is, like, a clear adult show, and this is not. Like, you can watch this with a child.
The big thing that I think, without going into spoilers, the big thing why I said that had nothing to do with what you just said. The biggest thing that I think makes the Atla Netflix live action remake closer to Game of Thrones, at least in tone, is how much fun they have taken away from the show.
Yeah, for sure.
They did remove a lot of fun.
Yes.
And we will go into this in spoilers, but like they straight up change characters so that they are not fun or not as fun. And that felt Game of Thrones. It's like, this is for adults. We're going to take this very seriously.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
Animated Avatar is like an extremely fun show, and there's a lot of kid stuff in it, and it's hilarious and everything. They have some funny moments in this show, but like, I guess because the movie exists and that sucked literally every single ounce of fun out of it completely. This sucked some of the fun out of it, but left a little bit. So it's not as bad, but obviously that's a bad comparison because you're comparing it to like the worst thing ever. But yeah, like Aang, like in the live action movie, like Aang is just not fun at all. He's not a kid at all. He's just straight pan the whole time. But like in this, like Aang's a kid. Yes, he is. He nailed that. You've got to be kidding me. Every single time he wakes up and there are kids around, he runs off to play with the kids. He does that.
Times does that
he does that in the Water Tribe, and he does that on Kyoshi Island.
Okay, so twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's constantly, I'm Aang. He's peppy. He's blah blah blah. Like, well, we'll get into that later. There's something I don't like, but like,
I'm the Avatar, and all of this is my fault.
Yeah.
How many times an episode does he say that?
A lot. So annoying.
Probably 3 or 4 times per episode.
Okay,
compared to the 2 times he plays with kids. Let's be honest here. Like, there's no penguin sledding here. What about the reason that isn't it the reason they go on some of these adventures that they actually showed in this show was to play with the special animals or do certain things or this or that? Like, and there's none of that. There's just none of that in this show, which I get. You got to cut things for time, but I didn't feel that. I felt that was one of the main things I had an issue with the writing. I think that Gordon, the kid, I think is good, and I think he does great with what he's given. But, you know, in every single interview, he is smiling and laughing and saying how much of a big fan he is. He saw this show, he saw the animated show 27 times. Like, and he's this great, you know, there's one interview moment where Ian, the guy that plays Sokka, said that airbending is the worst. And Gordon is like, are you out of your mind? It felt like I was watching
Us. You see what Ian said after that?
No.
He was like, you don't want to pick air? And Ian went, where are your homies at?
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's brutal.
That is hilarious.
And Gordon's like...
But like, so that, I don't know. I didn't get a lot of that. I get from the cast that I didn't feel like I got
Yeah, no,
in the show, and that
I don't-
disappointed me.
I don't necessarily disagree. Do you want to do pros and cons then?
I can't do pros and cons without spoilers.
Okay, well, we can say spoilers.
Spoiler time!
Yeah, let's do it.
Doo-doo-doo-doom. So yeah, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. I highly recommend everybody watch the new live action Avatar show though. Like,
Don't expect it to be perfect.
okay. Yeah.
Why is that something you would disagree with?
It's not something I would disagree with, but I wouldn't say that in telling somebody to go watch the show.
Why?
Because
The nitpickers online who are tearing down every single thing about it wanted it to be perfect.
well, what are you gonna do?
You're going to watch the show and not expect it to be perfect, and you're going to have fun with it. That's my advice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, form your own take on it.
Yeah.
And let us know what you think.
It's not a shot-for-shot remake. They do change some
I'm
things.
so excited for season 2 and 3,
not a
but we'll
perfect
get
show.
that into that in spoilers.
All right.
All right, spoiler time.
You want to do cons or pros first?
Pros, of course. You can start.
Really? I was going to start with cons.
Oh, you would start with cons.
I know.
Let's do it. Cons and pros.
Pros and cons.
Cons and pros.
I just wanted to end the episode on a more positive note.
Well, we're going to end the episode with a debate debating our pros and cons, so it's not even going to matter.
Okay, then you start with something.
Do you want to go back and forth one by one?
Sure.
So are we doing pros or cons?
Whatever you want, Bubba.
I'll start with a pro.
Okay, hit it.
And I want to start with a pro for the live action Avatar show that I don't think a lot of people are going to talk about. Physically, they couldn't have done it better.
Explain. The bending.
It looks incredible.
Yeah, it does.
Consistently. Whether or not you find the effects good or whatever, Dallas, physically, kicking around, moving around. I mean, he's a ninja.
Azula, too?
It's incredible. Incredible. Azula looks good. The cast member that blew me away the most was Giowendio Katara. Sorry if I butchered your name. She's incredible. She must be a dancer or something. Like every movement, I was like, oh, this is it. The fight at the end with her and Zuko looks fabulous. I was really blown away with the actual movement of the bending, which looks really bad consistently in the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah.
So that was something that I really wanted to be improved, and they did. I mean, the opening sequence with the Earthbender and the way he's moving, I was just like, this is incredible. I was thrilled.
No, I was thrilled.
Definitely, there are some issues. There are some scenes where maybe it looks wonky, but like, this is a hard concept to do in practice in live action, especially as well as they do it in the animation, and I think it looks great.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, if the nitpickers can complain about, it's like, well, the bending doesn't look, the action doesn't look as good as it does in the animation. It's like, well, homie, it's real people. Like, it looks amazing for like what it is and at the premiere, something I noticed after the after party, the guy who plays Zuko, Dallas, right? He was at the photo op that I was standing next to, and they were doing some little social media thing with him, and they told him like, hey, can you like do a little fireball thing? And like without like he was it was so easy for him. He was like, yeah, sure. And he like waved at the camera, and then he did like a motion and like acted like there was a fireball though, and then like
incredible.
Stuffed it out. And as he walked by me, I was like, that was really easy for you. And he was like, yep.
That's incredible.
like it was awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So do you think the VFX of the bending in the Avatar show is good? Don't talk about that yet.
I think the fire consistently looks good.
Okay.
And I think the water looks second best.
Really?
There's very little earth we get. The earth that we get at the start looks incredible. Mm-hmm. The Boomy fight does not.
Okay.
Air is by far last place for me.
Really?
Yes. I do admit, though, how the hell are you going to do it anyway? Like, it's a difficult concept anyway.
Yeah, my thoughts on all the VFX were like, they were good. Like, to me, water looked a little wonky every once in a while, but like, it's water.
Yeah, it's really
like, it's
difficult.
supposed to look like that. I thought overall, I just enjoyed the fights. I enjoyed it all. There were very few times where I was like, it took me out of it, where I couldn't enjoy a fight or I couldn't enjoy a bending scene because of the VFX. The VFX were superb overall, in my opinion.
For the bending.
For the bending.
Because
yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we will talk about that. But also, Koizilla looked really good. Mm-hmm. Looked really good.
Yeah. So in my opinion, shout out the VFX team. Like I know they worked really hard on it, and like obviously like everything could always be better, but like at the same time, like it was fun. Like there's all and the other thing is like they don't try to skirt by bending or not give you enough bending because
no, there's a lot per
there's
episode.
So much per episode, and like every time we're like to cut cost or to like do some sort of thing like a TV show will cut away from something, you won't really see the whole fight, or they'll make it shorter. No, there are fights, there's bending, and you get a lot of it, and I love that. So shout out them for putting so much in it. And like you said, in conjunction with the actors' movements, it is really. I enjoyed most of the fights. This is very underrated. There's like a 5-second fight between an Earthbender and Azula.
Yeah.
And he shoots like a rock at her, and she like jumps completely over the rock and like does a firebending kick. And I thought it was one of the most impressive VFX and acting shots, because that was like that's straight from the show. Like yeah, it was great.
Yeah. No, there was some. So that leads into two potential things. We could either go into my biggest con of the whole show, which you already know.
Yeah, we can do
or we could go into
I don't know. We'll do the first one.
Really? No, we're talking about bending and the movements and the actors and the VFX and, oh, yes. Or we could talk about another con that isn't my biggest con, but it is a con I have about the fights.
Whatever you want.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Largely, the bending looks really, really good, and the effects for the bending look really, really good for me personally, as you just said, for you as well. My biggest issue with the fights, and these were continuously the fights that upset me watching the show, was the camera work. Especially in the Blue Spirit escape from the fortress scene.
While watching it.
On the bridge, the camera is so that I couldn't really tell what was going on consistently. The only moment where I really got what was going on is the big moment. Otherwise, the camera was so constantly moving that it felt like I was watching a Nolan Batman movie. I can't even see what's going on in the fights. That really bothered me.
Yeah, but
it does happen very little.
That's what I'm saying.
But it is something that happens, that's something they're doing to mask the effects that bothered me.
Yeah, I think if it happened more often, it would have bothered me. But like, the only time I really noticed it was when you pointed it out, and you were not wrong when you pointed it out. You were correct. It just went on for like one shot.
It's a short scene, and I didn't point it out for the rest of the show. They did do it a couple other times.
I'm sure they did.
But it really was sparingly. And the camera work in the Katara Zuko fight, which was at the end, in the final episode, which was probably my favorite fight in the whole show, was spectacular.
Yeah. And there's a lot of times where like a bending move happens and like they just show you the whole thing. Aang knocking a fireball out of the air, or Aang just knocking everyone out that's in the room with him. Like, it could definitely be a con, but it didn't bother me that much just because they didn't do it so much. Like in a Nolan Batman movie or like a Bourne Identity movie.
It's every fight.
Every fight, every single time. Yeah.
No, I'm with you there. You want to go with another pro?
Sure. I got one.
Yeah.
This is a big one.
Oh.
So we can talk about it. Well, I had bending looked great. So we already talked about that. But we can just talk about generally the changes they made. The changes they made in the Avatar show, to me, were mostly positive. This is a con and a pro, but I'm going to focus on the positive.
Pros first.
Yeah. Do you have any that stand out to you? Because I've got a list.
Sure, go for it.
Okay, so the uncle backstory.
Uncle Iroh.
The moments that you have with him, with the leaves from the vine playing in the background between him and Zuko. Potentially one of my favorite scenes in the whole show. The Zuko 41st Legion thing. With his crew, an outstanding change. Personally, I liked a lot of the stuff they did in Omashu. I thought it was particularly clever the way they were able to mix all of these storylines, and instead of cutting all these storylines and having the gang go to 5 different places, they were able to coalesce and like kind of wrap them all together in one particular location. So they didn't have to cut Jet. They didn't have to cut Boomy. They didn't have to cut Cabbage Man. They didn't have to cut the Mechanist.
Machine, yeah.
They do it all together, and they kind of all storylines all kind of collide, and I thought it was really clever.
It was really cool.
I liked it a lot. Some people think like they tried to do too much that episode. I totally understand that, but to
Christ.
me, shout out Christ, bum. I'm just kidding. For me, it was like kind of refreshing. Like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then the siege on the air temple in the first episode was something we've never seen before that I really enjoyed. And then we are also getting a lot of stuff back in the Fire Nation. I think all the Fire Nation stuff is pretty good. The Azula thing, and all the stuff that we're seeing from Ozai are all changes or additions to the original that I thought were some of my favorite parts of the show.
So where I want to like give my perspective on your pros being all the changes is I agree. A lot of the changes were some of my favorite stuff in the show. A lot of the things that you just mentioned. I will tell you the most disappointed and then immediately followed by the most wrong about this show I had ever been was when Avatar Kyoshi inhabits Aang's body in episode 2 and does the stuff on Kyoshi. That really disappointed me because it was taking that moment away from Roku, which is one of my absolute favorite scenes in season 1. Because I knew, okay, you're doing Kyoshi with that, showing that that's something they can do. You're not going to do Roku again.
Right.
Like, I knew that immediately. So when it's Kyoshi, I was like, no! The Roku scene is so awesome. And then I was immediately wrong, and it was my favorite scene in the whole show.
Yeah.
I thought the Kyoshi scene was incredible. And a lot of people do believe that Kyoshi is the strongest avatar ever. So,
It makes a little more sense for her to do it.
yes.
Yeah.
And seeing her in action, awesome. We don't get to see her in action very often.
No, yeah.
So then if you get to see the strongest avatar in action, and I really like the moment where it's the priests or whatever you want to call them, the sages, seeing the guy that they've been worshiping for the last 100 years or however long they've been sages, seeing that guy emerge from, I think that's a really amazing moment. But seeing Zhao and the firebenders like see that, and that's not Aang, that's Kyoshi, like that was an equally incredible moment.
Yeah.
Of like oh shit, like
Yeah.
we're screwed. So that was a change that I really, really loved. Something that I also felt was a pro that I want to build off of something that you just said. We get a lot of Fire Nation stuff in this season that you do not get in season 1 of Avatar, the animated show. And it made me so that all of the stuff that I loved were changes or additions. Like all the stuff that I was like, I love that. Every single one was a change. So it made me feel like I honestly just wanted this show to be from the perspective of the Fire Nation. And obviously, I know that seems like crazy, and obviously they would never do it or whatever, but constantly, I was finding myself being like, I want more Azula. And now I'm obviously very excited for season 2. I want more Azula. I want more Zuko and Iroh. I want more Ozai. Ozai's incredible in this show. So I constantly was like, give me more Fire Nation. And it would have been interesting if they just did this show from the perspective of Zuko and Iroh, and it was the politics of the Fire Nation, and you play Aang like almost like a villain figure in season 1, and he's a scary figure in season 1, almost like how they kind of, I have to compare it to Marvel because that's so much of our audience, but in Captain Marvel, how the Skrulls are the villain at the start of the movie, and then it's like, oh no, this is wrong. Doing a show from the perspective of Zuko, where this is all right, and you don't really see the abuse from his father because he's blocking it out. And then you learn that more and more in the show. And then finding out that no, the Avatar is the good guy, and what Ozai, you understand, is doing is wrong, and more and more and more, I think would be a really interesting perspective for a new audience, on top of, I think for a lot of diehard fans, would make us feel like, oh, and I think it would be more adult. I think that would have accomplished everything they wanted with this show, but they would have never done that. But I just want to give my perspective on that.
Yeah.
I think that would have been really, really cool.
Yeah, it would have been cool. I wouldn't have actively wanted them to do that,
Yeah, of course.
obviously. I would have been pretty upset if they did that. But as like a what if episode or something, that would be pretty cool to see.
I like that.
Do you have another pro, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I can do a pro.
Okay, hit it.
I think largely the cast is really spectacular. I know that I kind of went over that with the bending, but I think that is a little bit different. I think that this show was cast very well. I think that a lot of the actors and characters were really, really likable for me. And there are certainly some exceptions, but I think that every side character is pretty much knocked out of the park with the exception of Boomy.
Okay.
And then I think all the main characters, Team Avatar, really likable. Zuko, Dallas Liu is excellent. Uncle Iroh is excellent. I think Ozai was cast brilliantly. I think for the most part, I think this cast is really, really strong.
Going off of that,
Yes.
Another one of my pros for the Netflix Avatar show is just Suki.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's everything about her. Obviously, she's gorgeous. I can't remember a time that I ever watched a movie or a TV show and was that distracted by how so pretty someone was. Like,
Wow, you're stuttering.
no, I legitimately, I don't know if you heard me during watching that episode,
Yeah.
but like multiple times I was like, I can't concentrate, run it back. What the frick did she say?
Yeah.
Like, I thought like with the makeup, without the makeup, I don't care.
Yeah.
Suki was gorgeous. But also on top of that, like the chemistry between her and Ian was great. The acting was great. Her action with her little fans, and then also shout out her mom for just absolutely yeeting that guy. That was awesome. So everything about Kyoshi Island and Suki and those actors and actresses was great.
Yeah. Big pro.
Big pro.
Big pro.
Big
I
pro.
wanted to give you Suki. I didn't want to mention her.
You knew I was going to bring it
I
up.
knew it.
You knew it. Yeah, no, she's great.
You got another pro? We want to start going into cons. We can do whatever you want.
The last pro, and this isn't really a pro, but with a project like this, I like to point out that it is so easy for them to do something that is clearly bad. You know what I mean? Like, it's so easy for them to make a misstep or to make a decision that is egregious that we can all agree that was bad. I can't think of one that we've all agreed on, like, that was disrespectful to the fans. That was disrespectful to
That
the
is an interesting pro. Because
You know
there
what I
were a lot of those in the M. Night Shyamalan.
Right. Like, there's a lot of times where you're just like, wow, you just made that decision, and, like, we all agree that was bad.
Yes.
Now, there's a lot of things that people are nitpicking and a lot of people agree on, but I can't think of anything that almost universally, everyone's like, they made that decision, and it's disrespectful to the original.
I'm a Last Jedi defender. One of the most controversial two sides movies ever. It's one of your least favorite movies of all time. It's your least favorite Star Wars movie of all time. For me, it's in my top 3. The spectrum of Last Jedi hate or love is the craziest thing in the world. Unanimously, I know very few Last Jedi supporters that like Canto Bight. I think Canto Bight sucks.
Yeah.
So like that.
Yeah.
Like that. There's no Canto Bight in
Yeah.
the Netflix Atlas show.
Again, there are plenty of cons and there's plenty of things people are complaining about. But to me, it's just like, I didn't watch that show and I was like, well, everyone's going to hate this because they made a bad decision.
Yes.
There are a couple things that are close to that. But I did want to point that out. Like, thank you, I guess.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. And maybe they will in the future.
Yes, also, yes. And I do want to go over that.
We will be going over that.
Yes.
But
So I want to build off of that to go into my biggest con by far
Okay,
of the
go.
show, which is something that I feel universally we should all hate.
Yes.
Obviously, you do not.
Yeah, I don't.
And I know people that aren't going to care. And so I can't say it's a Canto Bight thing. But the volume is the worst thing to happen to movies and TV ever, in my opinion. The volume, for those of you that do not know, was created for the Disney Plus show The Mandalorian, and it is a dome where they film. And back in the day in Star Wars, the prequels got a lot of backlash because a lot of the acting in those movies is wooden and bad, and the writing is wooden and bad. So people felt like those movies are emotionless. And a lot of the actors and people that are fans of those movies blame it on those movies had no sets. If you look at the behind the scenes for the prequels, it's entirely blue. Everything is blue.
Yeah.
They're in this huge room of blue. So Disney wanted to make sure they didn't do that with their Star Wars shows, so they created the Volume, which is a dome that they shoot Mandalorian, Boba Fett, they shot Thor Love and Thunder in it, all these movies where the actors are looking at what the digital effects are going to look like in the actual movie. And everybody has started to notice that every single scene that is done in the Volume not only looks bad, not only does the environment look fake, but you can also now visually tell
if it's the volume or not.
If it's the volume or not, and that the actors are standing in a 5 foot by 5 foot room that is supposed to be a big forest.
Right. Do you think it looked bad in Mandalorian season 1?
No.
Okay.
But I think...
Because everyone loved it after Mandalorian.
Yes.
Which is why they're using it
that's
so much.
why it's been done to death now. And I do think Mando did a good job at using the Volume creatively. Like, here's a shot on the Volume. The opening shot of Mandalorian is Mando on this ice planet, and he's looking at a fob, and he's just walking towards the bar that had the circle door that he opens, and then he beats people up in the bar.
Great opening scene, by the way.
Great opening scene. That shot in the ice planet is clearly on the Volume, but you could tell a lot less because he is the only actor. You can't see that there's a guy this close to him, which wouldn't make sense if that space is that big.
Yeah.
Little things like that are your mind like, wait, they're in this big fort. Why is Jet that close to Katara? Like, what are we doing? Like, and not to mention, the effects have gotten worse because they're pumping out these projects so quickly that you have a scene like, you know, the Thor Love and Thunder fight scene where Thor meets Jane, where you can clearly tell they're on the Volume because it, like, behind them, it just doesn't look real. And that's a lot of this show. I think every scene on Appa looks terrible. Every scene riding on Appa, it's just like clearly that the screen is 2 feet behind you, like clearly. And almost every forest scene, you can tell there's a scene that it opens, I want to say episode 5, I can't remember, it's the opening scene of one of the episodes, and the Avatar gang is running away from Fire Nation soldiers, and there's how many of them, and they're like, there's 6 because they can't fit everybody in the Volume.
Well, I mean, if you want the worst example of a chase fight scene in the forest, Obi-Wan. That was like impressively bad.
But that is the Volume. That was the first real example of the Volume.
Yeah, I don't think Avatar ever gets to that bad. And I don't think I would have noticed it unless you pointed it out. Especially on Appa, I could tell a little bit more. But yeah, I can see what you're saying. It never bothered me as much as it bothers you.
And I did remember mentioning it watching the first episode with you, and you kind of rolled your eyes because you're a very positive guy. And you were like, can we just enjoy it, Alex? But then we watched it with a big group of like 20 people. Like 5 people came to me afterwards and were like, I'm so glad you pointed it out. I couldn't tell what the heck I was looking at and why I hated what it looked like. You're right. Like, it looks so bad.
Who said that other than Zach?
Zach, all of the patrons, right? So
well, yeah.
Every single one of them. And so it was like everybody was like, yeah, that uncanny valley just...
Yeah. Like, yeah. I don't think it looks bad. I do think, and I hope for the future, they'll do more like on set or full, like on location or full set type things.
You know what's the episode that I think looks the best? Episode 2. You know why? Built the sets. It's on location.
Kyoshi?
Clearly.
Yeah, they're yeah.
And I saw the pictures. They did. They built those houses. You know, they just did it. It looks incredible because of that. Yeah. And I just wish, you know, I'm a little bit spoiled. I know that you haven't watched it, but the live action One Piece was 99% practical sets. They built the ship.
I've seen 3 or 4 episodes. It does look good.
It looks so good because it's all practical. And is that even more expensive at this point? Like, just, I get that it takes time and you want to get this out as soon as possible, but like, can we please build some sets in season 2s and 3s? Because I'm tired of looking at these Fire Nation ships. Or everything on the Southern Water Tribe look terrible to me, at least. Like every single scene, like that big Fire Nation ship is not behind you. That's not there. Every single scene on Appa, every single scene on one of those Fire Nation ships where they're outside and Zuko is just berating Lieutenant G, like they're in a room that's 2 feet by 2 feet, it feels like.
All right.
That was my biggest issue with the show.
Yeah,
The volume, I hate you.
Ouch. Volume, I do not hate you. I think you can look a little wonky sometimes, but I think you're still a friend. But I'm not sure. Our friendship might come to an end here soon. If you make Bossing Say look bad, we're going to have some problems.
I thought Omashu, the scenes in the market, it's like, this isn't a big market. This is a room.
Are you sure the marketplace on Omashu was filmed on the volume?
100%. I would bet you money.
All right. One of my cons, we'll do the quickest one first. Like the acting and script do feel clunky at times. Like, that just that can lead into this one. Do you agree with that?
Yes, but I think it is more to do with a different con, which is, I think, the Game of Thrones thing.
No.
Okay.
I think, well, yeah, making them, I think, sure, because some people seem a little flatter than they should be, and the script is kind of a little repetitive sometimes, and I don't like that. And there's some times where, like, you could just, like, predict every line that's about to be in the scene. One, because it's cliche, or two, because we've already heard this in the last episode, or the delivery of it's like a little slow, and then the cut is kind of awkward. Like like it wasn't bad, and there are some scenes that are just beautiful. But sometimes I just felt like this could be a little smoother. It feels a little clunky because of the script and the acting and combination. Overall, it wasn't like a huge con, but that is something I noticed, and that leads into I was sick of Aang's script in particular by the last episode. How many times do we need him to say, it's my responsibility to save the world, I wasn't here, now I need to be here? I understand that's his character development in the first season, and I really wanted to focus on that. In the original, he really only focuses on it in the storm when the fisherman comes up.
And the Heibai episode where he sees the burnt down forest. Those are the only two moments in season 1 of the animated show that I really feel like he says something like that.
Yeah, and the storm, like, the fisherman literally is like, you weren't here, and gets onto him. And like in the show, Kiyoshi does that to him. Roku does that to him. Boomy does that to him. He does it to himself.
He does it to himself a lot.
And again, like, Katara helps him in the storm episode.
Yeah.
And like, after that, like, again, we get it. Like, I don't know. Like, the amount of episodes that were just, our lines that were like, well, to fix the future, you need to let go of the past, and, you know, it was my responsibility, and now I need to do better. And it's like, okay, Aang says that in more episodes than he doesn't, in almost the same exact way. And maybe it's a script issue, it probably is, and just like an overall thing. It's like, I feel like you could tell that story without being so repetitive about it.
I think so too, especially in such a condensed time frame.
Yeah.
We have 8 episodes versus 20. And even when we had 20 episodes, they talk about this twice.
Yeah.
They talk about this twice per episode in this season. And that did frustrate me as well. I do feel, though, that comes from them taking away his fun.
Yes.
He does not have enough fun.
You should be bouncing between those two things.
Yes, and I get it, right? You want this from a more mature audience, and you want this for adults and this and that, but at the end of the day, like, there wasn't enough fun for a lot of characters in here.
And season 1 is probably the most fun
season of the animated.
Yeah.
Yes.
With the unagi and with going to Omashu. Omashu was a lot more fun. With and that was another thing. They just like stuck in Boomy and him writing the mailing system at the end of the episode for like 3 seconds, and it was like, I guess that was like a nod to fans who knew about it, but like, they don't explain that.
No.
And like, why are Boomy and Aang friends at the end of that episode? Boomy was a jerk the whole episode. Which that is an entire con for me.
Yes.
I'll get to that.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a little repetitive. And to your point, yeah, I am starting to see what you're saying. I think you're probably right. I think it's less than...
They saw this. They saw the original source material, and they said, we can Zack Snyder this. And they didn't do it fully.
Yeah.
But in the same way that you are taking away Superman, saving a cat out of a tree, you are taking away penguin sledding. And you're taking away him running away from the Unagi when there's really no stakes. And you're taking away those moments, and you still have this much time with Aang where you need to give him screen time. And if you're only going to do the riding the mail system in Umashu and him playing with two different groups of kids and one moment where Momo lands on Sokka's head, doesn't even poop on him or anything. It's not really that funny that he's on his head where they're laughing hysterically about. Like, you give him 4 moments like that where he gets to be a child and they're like, well, we have to fill this show with 3 more hours of Aang screen time. Let's make him feel really bad about not being around.
Yeah, no.
That's why it is.
Yeah, I want to recognize the fact that they did purposely put those scenes in there. They did not have to have him purposely running off with any group of kids he saw to play with them. Like, I feel like that's their way of trying to put it in. It's not enough, and I think Gordon's acting and those particular scenes were good, and I think it was bogged down by the script. I think it's mainly like an overarching like storytelling script problem and not like a Gordon or a every single scene problem, because they give us nods to him being a kid, and I didn't recognize those as going through. I was like, oh, like as soon as he wakes up in the Water Tribe, he sees kids playing, and then he just like follows them outside to like play with them. Like,
and when does that happen again?
Kyoshi?
No, when he wakes up in the Southern Water Tribe. What episode does that happen in?
Episode 1.
And when's Kyoshi?
Episode 2.
Huh, and he never plays with any other kids for the rest of the show?
No.
And the rest of the show in episode 2, after episode 2, when Kyoshi yells at him for 20 minutes?
It's a bit much.
Oh,
Yep.
There we go. So they take away the fun
Yeah.
in the first 2 episodes. Just saying.
No, yeah.
Just saying. Like, that makes it feel longer and worse. That's why I didn't even remember those scenes.
Yeah.
Because they're in episode 1 and 2.
Yeah. No, I feel you. Yeah.
Like, so that is something I felt. A con for me, and I know you're going to disagree with this. I know it. I don't want you to get mad at me. I just want you to hear me out.
Okay.
A major con for me in the Avatar live action show is some of the changes that they have made to certain characters, even if we like the change or them doing things out of order. It changes where the characters have to go from there. We obviously disagree on the ones that we're about to talk about, but I would like to start with one that I think you will give me, which is Aang. Our introduction to Aang in the original show is the boy in the iceberg. He is in the iceberg, he is glowing, and then he falls and he's passed out. And then Katara, and he's like, you want to go penguin sledding with me? That is our introduction to Aang. We don't know anything about him. We assume he's the Avatar. He's on every poster, whatever. But that's it, okay? Our introduction to Aang in this show is the storm. We don't have any way of... The storm is like episode 12 of season 1. You get a bunch of episodes of getting to love Aang, and then you hear his tragic backstory and how sad that is. And now we understand certain things and why he feels sad and this and that. Starting with the storm does not give us as an audience an opportunity to like him. Sure, you can like him and his relationship with Gyatso and this and that. You can like those things, but it doesn't make us fall in love with him like the interactions with Katara and Sokka do. It also takes away the mystery from when they find him in the iceberg. It takes away all of that. It takes away, like, what happened to the airbenders, that's not a mystery. Doing all that, doing his part of the storm in episode 1 was, I thought, a massively bad decision, especially because one of the best episodes in the show is Zuko's storm, which is in episode 6. Like, we got to know Zuko and then you did it, which is exactly, that's going to be a highlight of many people's highlight of this show will be episode 6 because of the Zuko Storm stuff, because we got to know Zuko and then you did it. Doing it in the first episode, maybe just to do the massacre of the Airbenders, I thought was a hilariously bad decision, and it pissed me off immediately. And if episode 2 wasn't as good as it was, I may be one of those nitpickers that's online complaining about every little thing because I hated that change so much.
Sure. I don't hate it, but I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I want to talk to you about, I would like a little bit more input from you here because I do know this is something you disagree with me on, is I do think a lot of the changes and additions and doing stuff earlier in this show with Iroh and Zuko will have tremendous effects on season 2 and 3 that could actually be awesome. And they're things I'm really excited for, but could they be things that are Canto Bite? And they're changes that everybody finds hilariously offensive? Yes. You mentioned it. We watched episode 8 last night. Him saying Lu Ten would have been proud of you at the end of...
Okay. Let's focus on Iroh because I have a lot to say about Zuko.
Okay,
and
no
that's
problem.
a whole con.
No
for
problem.
Me.
Iroh, then I'll keep it quick because I want your perspective. They do a lot of Iroh stuff in this season. They don't do any of it in season 1 of the original show.
Yeah.
I get that there's only 8 episodes per season, so you got to do some stuff earlier. But it's going to change everybody's opinions and thoughts on Iroh in season 2 and season 3. And his character is a really dynamic character because you have an opinion on him in season 1. And then it changes in season 2, and then it changes again in season 3 as you learn more about him and see how those things in his past affect his future and his present. And we know almost too much that I don't know where they go with this character. From now, it's either, we have 2 options. Either they do everything that they do in the show and they continue to do stuff earlier, and by the end of the show, he is just a nothing character that has nowhere to go, or they make massive changes and they change things and they add more things and everything. And I don't necessarily think adding things is a bad thing as long as they do it and it's good. But I do think that's a big gamble because you didn't need to do as much as you did with Iroh in this first season. That's my opinion. What's your thought?
Yeah, I totally see what you're saying. They moved a lot of stuff from kind of season 2 into season 1, and I think they did it really, really well. The scenes with him are actually fantastic. But your point of, like, if they do too much too early, where do they go with him in season 2 and season 3? Because we've kind of gotten his whole Lu Ten, like, even the thing with the Earthbender, the conversation he had about you attacked Ba Sing Se, like, are you proud of that? Like, these are the terrible things you did, and like Uncle's guilt with that or whatever. Like, so here's my thing. I'm not going to make a judgment call on Iroh in season 1 and what they're doing with his character without seeing season 2 and 3, because they did a lot of things in this season with characters that I liked that were new, that didn't change the characters themselves, but added to them, like Azula and her relationship with Ozai. That's something that is early and expands on Azula more than we got in season 1 of the original show, but there's still a lot they can do with Azula because that's something I couldn't have predicted. So then maybe they'll do something good with Iroh that I haven't predicted.
Fair.
Like I couldn't have predicted the conversation with the Earthbender that he had, and the, I have everything I need on this ship, like, line, like, stuff like that. There's so much in Iroh's backstory and that they can show you that they haven't shown us yet that will keep true and to the core of his character. Now, again, they might not do that. They might have done so much early that now they feel like they need to do more in season 2 and 3 and they start changing stuff. That would be bad, but I'm not saying that's what they're going to do yet, just based on what I've seen. But it might happen.
That's fair. I will say, with your Azula point, I agree with everything you just said. I do think a lot of the Azula changes. I mean, I loved Azula. Azula may have been my favorite character in this whole show. I think all the Azula changes were fabulous. So there's no reason to believe that they won't do that for Iroh. The only rebuttal I have to that is it is easier to change things about a character early to get them to a point where we know they will be, versus then doing something earlier to a point where they will get to a point with content that you've already done.
Yeah.
So now you're either going to need to fill those gaps with either a nothing character that doesn't do anything,
Yeah.
or add things there,
Yeah, we'll see.
which is harder to do.
We'll see. Yeah, we got a lot of focus on Zuko and Iroh in this season. Maybe we won't get as much in season 2. We'll just have
Also true.
Yeah, we'll just have to
But
see.
wouldn't that disappoint everybody? It would
Maybe.
certainly disappoint me. That
Maybe.
were some of the best parts of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So taking that into my con of Zuko, in the first season of the Netflix Avatar show, they make Zuko too likable.
In this show.
In this show.
In the Avatar live action. They make Zuko too likable. That's
Yep.
your take. Interesting. Continue.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, one of my cons is the changes they made. I guess we can get into that after. But to your point, kind of like they showed too much of Iroh and like this is his character arc and you kind of got a large amount of it early on. Zuko in the show, people love his character development. He's a lot of people's favorite character because you see his character development, and it is so drastic. In the first season of the animated show, he's awful.
He's awful.
Like, you get his tragic backstory, but he's just a jerk. He's a jerk to everyone all the time. Like,
All the time.
I don't know, like, I can't, maybe there is a moment, but like, I can't really remember a moment where he was not. And he's like that most of season 2 as well. He goes
Yes.
through the metamorphosis in Ba Sing Se, but even immediately after that, he's like nice for one episode, and then he's trying to kill us again. Like, we only get his redemption until season 3. And I'm not saying we've gotten his redemption in season 1, but I don't think anyone has come out of this season being like, I don't like Zuko. They gave him so much. They gave him so many good moments. They gave him the moment where he says to Iroh,
Luten would have been proud.
Luten would have been proud. And you get him being nice.
Giving the medal to Iroh at the funeral.
Yes, and the 41st Legion thing. They gave him
Yes.
that. Like, and the whole crew respecting him. Like, another example, like in Stranger Things, you're not going to get this, but like Steve is a very Zuko character where in the first season, you hate Steve. And Steve is a lot of people's favorite character now because they hated him. I don't know anyone who's going to come out of season 1. He's not really the villain. He's not
No.
really even a jerk a lot of the time.
Yes.
Like, they make him so relatable and so like, you only see him as a damaged, hurt person, which he is in the original, but you see in the first season or 2, you see more the side of him that is just the evil, I'm trying to get the Avatar kid. And they took a lot of that away, and I think that is damaging to how great his character arc can be because he doesn't have as far to travel.
I agree with everything you're saying. That's exactly my take.
Yeah.
That leads perfectly into
Yeah.
they are doing Zutara.
I'm going to kill myself.
They are doing Zutara. I'm glad that you are accepting it because you were in denial a little bit.
Shh.
This is why they've made Zuko so nice. To do Zutara.
I am currently a defender of
this show.
of the Avatar Netflix show. If they choose to do Zutara, they will see rage unlike they've ever seen before.
Tenfold.
Tenfold. I
Yes.
will unleash on them tenfold.
Yes.
They removed every semblance of Katang from this first season.
Yes, they did.
There's like one moment where she's like, I need you, but like, come on.
It's kind of like you're our family, though. Like, that's
Yeah,
like,
no.
she kind of brothers him.
Yeah, no. There are only 2 major changes in the show that bother me, and one of them is
Cave of Two Lovers.
which is the Katang thing.
Yes.
You do not do Cave of Two Lovers without Katara and Aang. How dare you? Like, number 1, that's from season 2, and you yoinked it and you put it in season 1. Fine. But you're going to do Katara and Sokka, brotherly sister love, as opposed to... That is one of the biggest episodes. So the biggest relationship in Avatar is Katara and Aang. That's the biggest relationship.
Yes.
A romantic relationship, at least. And one of the biggest episodes for their relationship is the Cave of Two Lovers. So you're taking out potentially the biggest romantic relationship in the entire show, and you're taking out the number 1 episode that represents that love, and you change it. Do not do Cave of Two Lovers without the 2 lovers. Like, obviously Oma and Shu are the originals, but like, that was the point of that episode. In the first season, you get him immediately
Having a crush on her.
having a crush on her. He says, will you go penguin sledding with me? Immediately. He
when she's like around him, like the golf swing, helping him with the waterbending, and he gets he's super blushed. The fortune teller episode.
The fortune teller episode. He makes the necklace for her in the fortune teller episode. The prediction of you're going to marry a powerful bender is in the fortune teller.
He gets the necklace back for her.
For her, and gives it to her, and she gives him a kiss on the cheek.
Yes.
In the first episode, Qatar's like, "Why are you smiling like that?" And he's like, "Oh, I was smiling." It's all adorable. And then the Cave of Two Lovers is obviously their thing in season 2. They took out all of that. And if they're deciding not to do Katang, I will be upset. I will be even more upset if they decide to do Zutara.
And now Netflix's Twitter is teasing Zutara.
Yeah.
Which you're
frick off
bothered by.
Yeah, they tweeted like the moment like Zuko like touches her scarf. And apparently they've been like interacting with Zutara stuff. I don't know if that's true, but no. I will have no qualms with absolutely never watching the show again or telling people not to watch the show if they decide to do that. I'm sorry. Like I love Avatar, and you know the original creators left, and maybe this is the reason.
Yeah.
Like
you won't even accept it as like a different incarnation.
No.
It's like a multiverse situation.
No, there are a few things that you need to do right. Like one of the pros that I said in this season is that they didn't do anything egregious that would piss off most of the fans.
And Zutara is.
Of course it is, and they must know that.
Yeah.
They have to know that.
But they would be appeasing a large subset of people like your friend Haley that would like Zutara.
Sure, but that is a wildly dangerous decision to make, to change the original to appease a subset of a fandom.
Absolutely.
And if they do that, then they can deal with the consequences.
Yeah.
And there will be some.
I will say I'm not going to go ahead and say I will boycott the show if they do Zutara. I would be interested to see how they would do it, but I do expect them to do it after this season. I really do. I think that making Zuko so nice, it's leading to that. Yeah. Personally, that's just my thought throughout this whole show. I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, Andrew, poor Andrew. Poor Andrew.
That would be such a bad decision for them. It would be such a bad decision. Mm-hmm. Number one. And then, what was the other con? I had another con.
Boomy.
Yeah, no, I can get to that. There was another change, like a little change of a character.
Can I mention a little change that I thought was a much bigger change than you gave it credit for, and you can remember in the meantime?
Okay.
I thought they completely changed Admiral, Commander, Captain Zhao. Completely. And you completely disagreed with me.
You use these words like completely. Everything core about his character is exactly the same.
Sure.
Then it's not completely.
Sure.
Okay.
But they changed him quite a bit, a lot more than I think you're giving it credit for. I don't dislike the changes. We do have a friend that does dislike a lot of the changes with Zhao. I thought it was an interesting way to do it because they give a lot of they make him a vessel for Azula, which I thought was awesome. And I thought they gave a lot more stuff to Azula, which I thought was great. But I did think, I thought they changed a lot with Zhao, and it actually surprised me how much they changed for Zhao. Somebody that they did change a lot of, that you will absolutely give me, unless you're a psychopath, is Katara.
Yes.
Katara could not be more different, in my opinion.
Yes, she could be more different. You say stuff like that.
Okay, she could be an earthbender. Sorry.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Otherwise...
Well, I don't think they didn't really necessarily change anything about her. They just didn't show anything about her. They just didn't give her the moment she needed.
But Katara is like the mom of the group, and she's angry a lot, and she's sassy, and she gets things done. Like a very good example of a change that they made in this show, making her more passive than she is in the actual show, is in the actual show, she steals the waterbending scroll from pirates. And in this show, it's given to her by her grandmother, by Gran. And like that's her being passive in this show versus active in the original. She's always active in the original. She's always making the decisions. She's always taking care of everybody. She's always doing everything. And that is almost completely taken away from her in this season.
Again, I think that's an example of like them just not giving her the moment she needed. I don't think they actively made her character make decisions that were different. They just didn't give her scenes in which she could make decisions. Like,
but taking those scenes away is changing her character.
Sure. Yeah. And like, again, the only moment that we really get from her is the Paku fight,
Yes.
which is great.
But is it even the same thing? Because in the show, it's like how dare you? I've done all of this. Like, this is me. I'm going to beat you, da-da-this, da-da-that, like that. When in this show, I thought it was like, just give me an opportunity. You know? Like I know that what I'm saying is hard to illustrate, but like...
No, kinda. I think she was more animated and more... Like, the line, you can't knock me down, and like, she's a little more fiery with it in the animated.
But did you buy it? Like, did you buy it in the live action? Like, I didn't
not
buy it.
Not as much as the animated. I think they have a lot of work to do with Katara. Yes,
if they're gonna keep her the same, but they might continue to make her passive, just completely change her character over the 3 seasons and make her marry Zuko.
Yeah, and they'll cause mass. Never mind.
Hysteria in your house. I don't know about everybody else. We will have to see. You remember your thing?
No, I don't.
That's a shame. All right, Boomy.
It's really bothering me. Yeah, so Boomy. This bothers some people, doesn't bother others. It doesn't bother Chris anymore. Chris and I talked about it. But another change is what they did to Boomy.
Yes.
And I really didn't like this whole episode because it's the same episode as the Cave of Two Lovers change.
Yes.
So it's my least favorite episode.
Me too.
Because in episode, I think that's episode 4.
Yes.
In all these other episodes, Aang is beating himself up. He's getting speeches from people about how he's not responsible and how he left and how it's a problem. Kyoshi did it to him. We don't need Boomy to do it to him. Mm-hmm. Boomy the whole time is just a jerk. Mm-hmm. Like, at no point do you feel like they are friends. Mm-mm. At no point did I feel like they should go in a mailing system roller coaster at the end of the episode together. At no point did I feel like they had any sort of good history together. Mm-hmm. At no point did I think, oh, they're going to come back and Aang's going to ask Boomy for help. Why would you go ask this guy for help? He also has a death wish, which was weird. He was like, let the rock fall on me. Like, what in the, like, Christopher Nolan Batman movie is, like, I don't know, like, in the show, and also the reveal of Boomy. Like, the reveal is, like, you get more scenes of them as kids, and then you don't know that this is Boomy until the end. The reveal of Boomy at the end of the episode in the animated is so awesome. And then, like, Aang's happy to see him, and Boomy is happy to see him. And you realize that the Boomy was trying to help him be a better avatar by putting him through these tests and, like, whatever. But at no point did he want to actually hurt Aang.
Nope.
He said in this show that they were going to fight to the death.
Yep.
At no point did he was like, Aang, you should kill me.
Yep.
At no point does he shame Aang
Yep.
for the same thing that everyone else in the show is shaming him for. Mm-hmm. Like, constantly throughout the episode. He was not as funny. He's not as charismatic and loving. And again, at the end, it's like...
He's also hard to look at.
Ouch. Yeah, I really didn't like that. Like... We just got enough of the shaming of Aang and from other characters and from other episodes. And I wanted to see the goofy, fun relationship that they had as kids and the goofy, fun relationship that they have now. And it was just depressing to watch.
The number one thought I had watching, and this was a thought that most people had that we were watching with, why'd you even have the flashback scene? If you're going to do it once, and it's going to be that short, and they're not going to be having fun together, they're barely friends, he's giving him advice about something, which is what Boomy's doing to Aang the whole episode, why even have the flashback episode? If you were going to change so much about Boomy, change them not being friends as kids. Make him not know him. If you want somebody to berate the Avatar for not being the Avatar, why would it be somebody that knew him 100 years ago?
Yeah, and... Like Chris said, like it made the war seem more real, the way that Boomy talked about it, and the hard decisions you have to make. It's like Roku and Kuruk and Kyoshi all said that he has to make hard decisions. Mm-hmm. Like, we get it, and like you're trying to make a theme through the whole season, and everyone's telling him this. Make it the Avatars, that's fine, but like,
I thought the scene that they did it best was the Roku scene. Mm-hmm. Because Roku was fun about it.
Yeah, and at the start of that scene,
was likable, and he's like baiting him,
yeah,
kind of like what Boomy
you must
does.
kneel. That's what Boomy should have done.
Yes, exactly. So I liked the Roku scene a lot. The Roku scene probably would have been my favorite scene in the show if it wasn't the worst example of the volume. But that scene looked terrible, and you cannot tell me otherwise. Right. But I loved that scene and the writing in that scene. That's exactly what Boomy should have been.
Yeah, no, I agree. But it is what it is. So yeah, I really didn't like that. But overall, again, 7 out of 10. The action was great. The Koizilla was great. Most of the fights are great. Paku versus Katara is great. Katara versus Zuko is great.
Katara versus
Aang is
Zuko
just constantly knocking people over. No one gives Aang a problem, which is exactly how it should be.
In season 1.
In season 1, yeah. Sokka is the Riz Lord. He's making out with lots of people.
What'd you think about Sokka? Because Chris hated Sokka. Hated every second
love
of him.
Sokka.
I loved him. He was one of my highlights of the show.
I thought they did an amazing, and everyone was complaining before the show started. They're taking things away from Sokka. They're not going to do his character.
No, they did him great. They did him great. And all the changes they made are great.
Great.
And the responsibility, I thought was great. Everything, those were really, really good changes. I really, really liked Sokka. And I thought he was very funny. He was the second funniest part of the show for me, other than Iroh.
Yeah.
Iroh had 2 lines per episode that were just like hilarious.
Funny. Yeah, and in the first episode, not really. He doesn't have any in the first episode, which worried me. But they did a little bit better with him afterwards.
There's one of them in the market that they're
Yeah,
at that
that's what I was
killed
thinking.
all of us.
That's what I was
What
thinking.
was it?
I can't remember.
No, that was good. We haven't talked about this at all. What do you think about
Help me. Give it to me. The spirited episodes.
What? Oh, Ko, the face stealer. What do you think about the changes for that? I thought it was largely great.
Well, first off, the design of him was amazing. He looked like he looked like an animated show, and they made him creepy. They made the face exactly the same. His creepy arms and so good. And also the jump scare was great.
The Katara one was spectacular. The Sokka one's a little bit worse.
Yeah.
But the Katara one got everybody. It was awesome.
No, yeah, it was good. They kind of that episode was a little like they had Ko and they had Heibai and then he has to leave the spirit world and just leave them there and go to the sage.
Yeah.
That was like a little much.
Yeah.
But a huge pro for me and potentially the best line in the entire season to me of Avatar was Gyatso and Aang in the spirit world. And finally, I'm going to cry. You finally get a little bit of relief for this poor 12-year-old boy when Gyatso looks at him. And you don't get this in the animated, and this might be my favorite change. Aang gets to hear Gyatso say to him, "There's nothing you could have done. Mm-hmm. Nothing would have changed if you'd stayed. It is good that you left and are now
survived.
here. And now you're here to help the world." I got chills when that came on. I'm so glad they put that in there.
Can I just say something? Mm-hmm. And this goes back to my big thing that I hate. Can you imagine if they did the storm in episode 4 and then that happened in the spirit world in episode 5?
Yeah.
Rather than 6 episodes prior and
Yeah.
you just had, and then even move it to episode 8 or something, move it later, but it would have been the best scene ever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. They put Gyatso in a lot. Like when Aang goes into the Southern Air Temple and he sees his body and goes into the Avatar state. In the animated show, Katara basically gives him the speech that she gives him when he's Koizilla of hey, we're your family now, it's okay. And Katara gets him out of that. And this, it's memories of Gyatso, which I was fine with because they start the episode with Gyatso and his relationship. Yeah.
Removing it so that the only thing that made him run away is the pressure of being the Avatar, and removing that they're going to remove Gyatso from his life. I thought that was a bad change.
Me too.
Yes.
Especially because they're focusing so much on Gyatso and his relationship.
Yes.
It would have
been better. Yes, it would have been so much better. It would have been. And another thing I don't like that Gyatso goes out like a bitch. You might say he doesn't. He absolutely does. He goes out easier than literally every other airbender in the whole show. I get that he's protecting the kids. I like that. That's cute. Whatever. I don't like it at all.
I agree. I wanted him to go off a little bit more.
Take the air out of the room. That would have been incredible. Kill everybody.
The only excuse is he was going up against the Fire Lord specifically.
But don't do that then.
Yeah, no, he should he took out 2 of them. They should have let him take out 10 and then Fire Lord come in and beat him. It was a pretty quick scene, but overall, watch it, have fun with it. Some things will bother you, some things won't. Enjoy the changes. I can't believe I'm saying that.
For the most part.
Don't enjoy all of them.
Don't enjoy Zutara. Or do.
No, don't say that on my podcast. I will not allow that on this podcast. No, take it back.
Zutara forever.